gonna be reading chapter 4. I'm gonna be reading this, so yeah. I'm still reading, but this kind of shows how badass kind of Dr. Shen is. He's getting threatened with a knife, and he's like, very poetic, but if you think I'm going to beg you to spare me, you're mistaken, Pog. I have finally got to this issue, issue 4. This one was pretty epic, actually. We see some violence, and we see some story of who Captain Marlowe is. I'm gonna explain it more, but also, Namor is kind of he has no pee-pee. And also, he looks like a freaking alien. But let me talk more and get some backup footage for you guys. What I want to start out with is that this is probably the most eventful issue I've seen so far, issue 4. So it's basically I'm gonna try to, if I remember everything on it. But in the beginning, it's like they arrive on Marlowe's ship, or I don't remember the name of it. They arrive on that ship, so it's very far deep than the Mariana Trench Station. So they arrive on the ship, they board it, they're searching around with the harpoons, and they find, obviously they walk into, I think there's like beds or something like that, and they find 2 or 3 bodies there, and the doctor's like, okay, these are from the putrefaction, they look like they're 4 weeks old, which means that they've been there for 4 weeks, right? So eventually they keep searching around. Obviously they go back on their ship and they actually bury those bodies, quotation marks, but they actually just wrap them in bags and throw them out in the water, and we get a scene where Namor is looking at them, which is pretty cool, I guess. You show Namor some more, but then they search around and search around more. And they find this thing running around, animal or whatever it may be. But it's actually Captain Marlowe, and he runs around and they actually corner him in a corner and point harpoons at him, and it's like, oh, Captain Marlowe, and they find Marlowe, and he's he has very long hair. He looks like he's been out for a while, but he actually, and then we keep going. They bring him inside, and they, the doctor looks at him with a beard and the turban on, and they look at him, and he tells his story that think they were like getting drunk or something, and then. I don't know if they were fighting or whatever, arguing or whatever, but, I guess Namor showed up and a whole bunch of chaos happened, so he just hid in the garbage bin or trash bin or something like that, and he hid there, and he had to basically act mad because maybe Namor thought he was insane, so he's just gonna spare him. So I would say that's why he spared Captain Marlowe. Marlowe tells more of the story. And we figure out that Marlowe, he's the only person that survived, right? And, Dr. Shen accuses him of being a coward, they get into a little scruffle where Marlowe, I guess punches somebody or pushes them. But Sten is he still denies, even Namor and everything up until the end, right? We figure out that he has the film, of course, and then but Marlowe is held in the medical center, and the big black guy who's bald blocks the door basically as the bodyguard, tells him not to leave. Then the guy, Ryan, actually takes a freaking wrench and just jacks him in the freaking head, and he starts bleeding. He starts freaking bleeding and just knocks him the frick out. And Captain Marlowe comes with him, obviously, and Dr. Stan already has the film, so he's watching the film and he sees Atlantis. So he says, yes, there's actually Atlantis that exists, through all of his denial. But he still says, if this is revealed to the, modern and full world, it will question, dismantle all logical positioning and arguments against, superstition and fictition and fictitious stuff, all that stuff. So he says that, and then, oh gosh, I can't remember what else happens. I think he talks to somebody else in that scene as well, but he watches it, and Marlowe actually walks in. Yes, Marlowe walks in, and he fights and he tussles with Dr. Stem, and they are, I think might have a hand wrench or something like that. He tussles with him. They're arguing. Mama Julius, you scientists, how did you scientists cared? I thought you scientists, did this, that, and the third. And Marlowe and him are arguing while they're fighting. But then Marlowe eventually gets him on the ground. He pushes him on the ground. And they're at basically the threshold of the door, but just behind it. And then Sten looks up and he's like, oh god! And he sees Namor, fully naked. Namor, and that's how this issue ends. Chapter 4 ends like that. We see Namor naked, and we see him standing in front of people. So it was pretty eventful. If you read it for yourself, it does get pretty brutal, like seeing the bodies, very brutal, like their bones are broken or something like that. But it's interesting. You finally get to see violence between the crew. We see violence between the crew, but not like, knock somebody out with a freaking wrench. So hopefully chapter 5 is even better. They all have harpoons, and it should probably Chapter 5 should piggyback off of that scene where they see Namor. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoy that. I'm going to be doing Chapter 5 as well. I'm going to do Star Wars comics in the future because I love Star Wars. And see you guys. Have a great day. And bye-bye. Play Uwu! Play Mortem Metallum. It's a pretty cool game. And yeah, there's a lot of violence and a lot of peaceful, friendly stuff you can do in this game. Okay? Bye-bye.